Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, my name is Charlotte. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. As you will have seen from the title, today we're going to be going over my November wrap up, but also I have some footage from a book launch that I went to with Quarkus last week that will be inserted into this video. It is for the book How to Solve Your Own Murder by Kristen Perrin, and it is basically about a woman that when she's 17 she goes to a country fair and she gets her tarot cards read, and it is predicted that she will be murdered. She then does get murdered many years later, but she has spent most of her life basically gathering information on everyone around her that could be her killer for someone to find. So when she is murdered, her niece comes to solve her murder basically, and it has been put in her will that whoever solves her murder will be the heir to her fortune. So very excited to give this a read, and again, thank you to Quarkus for inviting me, and thank you to everyone here for supporting the book content, because without you I wouldn't have been invited. So yeah, just wanted to throw that one in there. But let's get into my November wrap up. So I made it through six books in November. So let's run through them. I've already done a bit of a wrap up on TikTok, but I just wanted to come on here and chat a little bit more, go a little bit more in depth. So yeah, so the first book that I read in November, I actually read most of this in October, but I finished it in November, which is why it's in this video, and that is Fourth Wing. So I had been putting off reading Fourth Wing for a while. I kept looking at it in shops, being like, should I get it, should I not? Like, is it a bit of me, is it not a bit of me? Like, the whole dragon thing was really putting me off, because it's only been really recently that I have gotten into fantasy. So the whole dragon thing I was not sure of. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I was like, I really don't know if this is for me. But I love this book. I gave it 4 stars. It's quite spicy, but not crazy spicy. There's some spice scenes in it, but yeah, I really like this. I loved it was like fully romantasy. I found everything to be really well explained in this book. Like, for example, I also read ACOTAR this month. ACOTAR doesn't really explain things, it just says things, whereas this goes through things like warding and all of that kind of stuff. It explains a lot of the fantasy things a lot more than other fantasies that I have read so far, which I really liked. And I did see an interview where Rebecca Yarros said that she did write this to be like an intro into fantasy, and I definitely think she achieved that and did that really well. Like, I did another TikTok where I spoke through like the order of fantasies that I read and why I think they're so perfect, and I did read a few before I got into this, but I still think this is it's a good place to start. And yeah, obviously that was her aim, and I think she did it really well. So before I went into Iron Flame, because it hadn't come out yet, I had a week-long gap to fill before they came out, which was so frustrating, because if you've read Fourth Wing you will know about the cliffhanger that book ends on. So I picked up Babel. This was one of my book club books for the month. I enjoyed this a lot. I think it's an incredible piece of literature. I can really see it becoming a classic. It is a really heavy-hitting book. It deals with a lot of heavy themes. So this is my tabbing of Babel. It deals with a lot of heavy themes. I tabbed for like racism and empire, sexism, class, and like that's how full it is. So it really does deal with some heavy themes, but it is still a really interesting read. In this book we are basically experiencing our characters' time at Oxford with them in the 1830s. So we go through a bit of their time kind of pre-Oxford, and then we go into our main character's time in Oxford, and kind of a little bit, well, it's not beyond because I can't say anymore without spoiling it. We go through his time at Oxford, which is really interesting as he is from China, and he forms a friendship group of people of colour basically, that are also in the same position of how he ended up being in Oxford and how he got there. So that is super interesting. It is more of a historical fiction than a fantasy. The fantasy element is the magic system in this, the way that silver works. So silver is basically the magic that is used through language. It's it's quite confusing, I'm not gonna lie. But it is kind of an extended metaphor for like money and power, and we often see how the British middle classes are using silver really casually to do fun little party tricks, and that silver, if it went to China, where Robin is from, could change people's lives. And it's something that we see him deal with, is kind of the guilt of being in a country that treats money like that, when he is from somewhere where money is a lot more, like, it could really change people's lives, if you know what I mean. So yeah, that is really, really interesting. And it's a good read. It's a heavy read. It did take me a while to get through this. I ended up reading it on Kindle because, I was gonna open it like on a random page and I was like, I will 100% like pick up a spoiler or something. This is like the size of the font, and like the page, like it's pretty small font, and the type is just quite close, like the spacing's pretty close together, so it was giving me a headache reading the paperback, so I ended up getting it on Kindle. But yeah, it's a lot longer than it looks as well, like it's because of the font. But yeah, it's an interesting read. I would definitely recommend it if you do like kind of dark academia, and if you do like historical fictions. If you don't like those and you don't like darker themes, you're not going to enjoy this. Definitely look up the trigger warnings for this as well, because of the language used, and there are some graphic scenes, so just have a look at the trigger warnings for this one, definitely. So after Babel, Iron Flame had come out, so I was so excited for this, so excited. It didn't live up to it for me. It really didn't. Like, I was absolutely, like, I was buzzing. I was so ready. I was like, this is going to be amazing. Like, loved Fourth Wing so much. It didn't do it for me the way that Fourth Wing did it for me. The main reason that this just didn't hit for me is it really lacked the romance side of things. It was very heavy on the fantasy. There were so many bits where we were just being info dumped on. Like, it was too long of a book. So if you haven't heard, so I think the longest Crescent City SJM book is like 900 pages paperback. This is 50,000 words more than that. So yeah, it's a long book. It's a really long book. And I definitely think that had a big effect on my enjoyment of it. Like, there was just so many points where it just didn't feel like the story was moving in like a decent way, and we were just being info dumped on. Like, I felt like I couldn't just relax and read this. Like, and I've seen a few people say the same, that it is kind of the nature of Rebecca Yarros's writing in these books, is everything, you are looking for Easter eggs, you are looking for clues, even down to like the chapters for all of the books start with like a little quote at the top, and you're constantly having to figure out like what one of those is important. Like, there's a lot, like you need your brain in it. But I did enjoy parts of it a lot. I just, where it lacked that romance, it kind of really drove home to me that like I definitely do need the romantic subplot. Like, it's an important thing in the books I read. So yeah, I would still recommend these. I just would say to be aware that you are gonna like, that is gonna be a bit that maybe are a bit on the slower side. I especially found, I think pages like 400 to, no, like 350 to like 500 were just, but the ending is good. Like, the ending blew my mind, and the cliffhanger kind of recovered like everything that I found, which I know is so annoying. So then after reading that, I needed a silly little romance. I really did. Like 3 pretty heavy books in a row. I was like, I need something fun. Oh, especially because I'd done A Curse for True Love and then went into Fourth Wing. And I'd done the list before that. Like, I'd had a pretty, I guess A Curse for True Love is like, it's a YA, but still, I needed a silly little romance. So I picked up Heartless, which is the second book in the Chestnut Spring series. I love the Chestnut Spring series so much. Oh, I don't think I gave my rating. Okay, 4.5 stars for Babel, 3.5 stars for Iron Flame. But back to Heartless. I really liked this. I really liked the characters, we are introduced to both of these characters in the first Chestnut Spring series, so it's nice just returning to them. It's nice that we see the characters from the first one throughout, and we have the stories of like the third and kind of even just the third one. Actually, no, even into the fourth one we have some things kind of laid down with those characters in this, which I really like. I like how interlinked everything is. So yeah, just a fun romance. The main thing that I will say about this book is that it's spice from like the get-go. It's very spicy. That is the driving force of our characters getting together, is spice. That isn't necessarily like a romantic relationship that forms. They just have a physical attraction, and somehow they end up together after fucking a few times, which is interesting. But I enjoyed it nonetheless. This is like a nanny age gap relationship, but it never feels weird. Like, it never feels too creepy. Like, the age gap kind of works. I think Willa, our main girl, is like 25, and I think Cade is like 38 or something, so it never feels too weird. I think especially because I don't know why it doesn't feel like I was never really aware of the age gap, and sometimes he'd mention it, like Cade's character would mention it, and I'd be like, oh yeah, but like for the most part I was like, silly goofy time. And I gave this 4 stars because I love these books. So then I then picked up The Night Circus, and I DNF'd it at, I think, page 76. I was not getting into this. I am going to try again with it at some point, because I think the reason I couldn't get into this was because I was still coming off of so many fantasies and just so much like, I don't know, you know, sometimes when you just do too many like quite intense books where you need your brain and you don't, like, you can't get into another one, because I thought I was going into a full-blown reading slump. So I picked up Powerless simply because I was like, I know these books, I know me reading these books, I will know if I'm in a reading slump by starting this book, and I loved it. I adored this book. This is my favourite one from the Chestnut Spring series, absolute favourite. I gave it 4 stars, but I actually think I'm going to up it to 4.5 stars because I just adored it. I loved the characters so much. This is Jasper's book. If you've read the others, you will know that we're kind of introduced to Jasper throughout. We know that he had some kind of trauma happen in his childhood, which we find out in this book, and it broke my heart. Like, what happened to him was so horrid. And yeah, like, my heart breaks for this man. But it is like a childhood friends to lovers, and we get both of their POVs, which you do for all of the Chestnut Springs books, but for these it was just so great to have both POVs, because both of them are so worried about like ruining the friendship, and it was incredible. They go on a road trip, and most of the book is just them on this road trip, which is just so cute. Like, I love it. I loved everything about it. It was perfect. Again, it's very spicy. Like, all of the Chestnut Spring series are very spicy. As soon as you hit the 50%, like, just be prepared for like smut. Like, that's it. But yeah, I loved it. I loved these characters so much. And I really nearly went into the next one after finishing this, because I just love being in this world, but I'm trying to draw it out. I've got 2 more books left. I'm trying to draw my time out in Chestnut Springs a little bit longer. I don't want it to end just yet. Which brings me on to my last book of the month, which I've kind of already spoken about, and that is A Court of Thorns and Roses. Thoughts on this book? I gave this 3 stars, so I wasn't super impressed. I didn't really enjoy this huge amount. And I think one of the reasons I didn't enjoy this is because I had seen some spoilers. To be honest, if you search playlists to listen to, you're going to see spoilers, and it is really annoying. I wish people wouldn't do that, because like, especially because the spoiler, like, I can't talk about it without it being a spoiler. Oh, the spoiler that's revealed doesn't happen until the second book anyway. So like you're reading this whole book and you're like, well, I've seen something that I know is going to happen in book 2. So, but it's called like, where obviously people just call the whole series ACOTAR. If you search ACOTAR playlist, it comes up with the spoiler. And it's just not needed. I wish people wouldn't do that. It's so flipping annoying. Because it's like, okay, you've just ruined the whole first book for me. And I'd seen other spoilers as well, like when people were asking Rebecca Yarros about characters in Fourth Wing and if they would get the same treatment as a character in ACOTAR, like, and those ones I don't mind because obviously like I saw them on TikTok, but like I do find that with this series as a whole, people don't care about saying spoiler, and it's really annoying because I think people just seem to expect, like, obviously I get that it's a big series, but people seem to just expect that everyone has read this series now, but people haven't, and I had so much of it spoiled to me. Like the, not even what happens in the book, but like big like character points and stuff, which was annoying. And it's definitely why I didn't enjoy this one as much, because I enjoyed parts of it. I really didn't like the romance in this. I really just didn't believe any of it. But then again, it's like, did I not? Because I'd already seen this spoiler, like, but yeah, so I gave this 3 stars. And I did also make a vlog of me reading this whole series. I'm still doing it now. I've got 2 books left now. I've literally like an hour, 2 hours before finishing, 1 hour and a half ago, I finished Aqua War. So all we've got left is a quart of Frost and Starlight and a quart of Silver Flame. So I'm hoping that video is going to be out on Sunday for you. But yeah, that kind of rounds up my November wrap up. So honestly, it wasn't the best reading month. I was kind of disappointed. I didn't have any 5 stars. I didn't have anything where I was like, I adore this. I didn't have anything that was like a Roman Empire book. I actually, do you know what? I forgot to say when I was talking about Fourth Wing, when I first read that book, I did give it 5 stars and then I downgraded it. And the reason I downgraded it was because when I thought about how excited I was for A Curse for True Love coming out, and I'd waited the same amount of time between A Curse for True Love and Iron Flame, like between me reading the book that came before. When A Curse for True Love came out, I was so excited. I was refreshing Amazon, like my deliveries like a crazy person. I was watching every TikTok. When Iron Flame came out, I was like, meh. Like, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to getting into this book, but I wasn't as like feral for it as I was for A Curse for True Love. So I was like, well, if I'm not thinking about it that much, then like I should probably knock the rating down. But yeah, that is everything for the November wrap-up portion of this video. And now we will transition to Past Charlotte, to the book launch that I went to. I have quite possibly the most exciting day today. Like, I didn't sleep last night because it felt like Christmas Eve, and you're gonna come along with me. Guys, okay, before I even say this, I just want to say a huge thank you to anyone that has supported me with any of the book content that I've been making, whether that be those of you that just interacted with my Instagram stories about books, that then kind of gave me the courage and conviction to make a book TikTok, and then the people that continue to engage with any like book content that I make on here as well, because today I'm going to a motherfucking book launch. What on earth? Like, it still doesn't feel like real life. Like, I literally still can't believe it. It's like an influencer event. I literally cannot believe it. I've never, like, I can't, like, physically, I've never been in such disbelief of anything. I just, my mind is blown, quite honestly. I'm super excited. So yeah, today we are going to London town. The event doesn't start till 6:30. But I live in Oxford. I'm getting the bus in because I'm not spending train money. I don't have train money. So I'm gonna get the bus in. So I'm gonna go into London a little bit earlier. I really want to go to St Pancras because I want to see the book tree. Because when I was in London a few weeks ago, I didn't get to see that, and I really want to see it. And then, yeah, maybe do some other like bookish things. And then the event itself is on the Embankment. It's with Quercus. I don't know how you say it. Which is a subsection of I can't say any publisher names, which is really embarrassing. But yeah, it's at the Hichat. I don't know how you say it, and every time Hichat, I don't know. Someone please correct me. It's in their offices. On the Embankment, I think. Let me just find the email. But guys, I literally like, I feel like I'm gonna cry. I can't, like, when I tell you, like, I didn't sleep. Like, you know the feeling that you got as a child for Christmas Eve? That was the feeling that I had. I'm gonna screenshot this email so that I remember. Yeah, it's on the Embankment, and I need to go to Blackfriars. Yeah, so the book that it is for, let's talk about the book, it's called How to Solve Your Own Murder. So I pulled up the page on Amazon so I can read the blurb to you. I don't think it comes out, on Amazon it says it doesn't come out until the 26th of March. So I'll try and find out a little bit more about if that is actually when it comes out. I'm sure I'll find out tonight. And I'm just assuming that I'll be able to film stuff. I think it says that there's some proof copies. So hopefully I'll be able to get one. And there's also tarot readings as well. I'm gonna try and film, there's also some other proofs of some other books as well. So that's exciting. So the blurb for this book is, Frances always said she'd be murdered. She was right. In 1965, a 17-year-old... Excuse me? Not Gus screeching. In 1965, 17-year-old Frances Adams was told by a fortune teller that one day she'd be murdered. Frances spent the next 60 years trying to prevent that crime, the crime that would be her eventual demise. Of course, no one took her seriously until she was dead. For Frances, being the village busybody was a form of insurance. She'd spent a lifetime compiling down every person she met, just in case they might turn out to be her killer. In the heart of her sprawling country estate lies an eccentric library of detective work, where the right person could step in and use her findings to solve her murder. When her great niece Annie arrives from London and discovers that Frances' worst fear has come true, Annie is thrust into her great aunt's last act of revenge against her spectacle friends and family. Frances will stipulate that the person who solves her murder will inherit her millions. Can Annie unravel the mystery and find justice for Frances, or will digging up the past lead her into the path of the killer? It sounds so exciting. And obviously, instead they're doing tarot readings tonight, which is so exciting. So hopefully I'll get my tarot cards read. Right now, I feel I'm really in need of having my tarot cards read. That would really... it would really help out, you know. I need my fortunes told, so hopefully that. But yeah, guys, I'm literally shaking. Like, I am feeling pretty nervous, I'm not gonna lie, just because I've never been to this kind of event before. I don't know anyone that's going. I've not seen anyone post anything about saying that they're going. So yeah, and obviously, like, I've not really been on Book Talk that long. I don't really have many mutuals, and most of the mutuals I have are like Scotland or Welsh. Scotland, Scottish or Welsh. So those are not gonna, I'm assuming they're not coming down to London for a random book launch. So yeah, it'll be interesting, but I'm really, really excited. I feel giddy. So yeah, I've been talking for too long, but that is the plan for today. So I'm gonna spend it this morning doing some work, and then I'm gonna get ready and then head to London sometime this afternoon. But I am just walking to the event. I can't believe I'm vlogging in public. I never vlog in public. I've got my AirPods on, so I'm hoping you can hear because it is quite loud out. I'm not in the city. But yeah, just thought I'd give you an update. I've just got to the place where, like, the office building where the event is. Currently walking in circles because it's said to be here between 6:30 and 10 to 7, and I'm just trying to push it a little bit later because there's no one like in the foyer area. Like, and obviously I'm not a corporate galley, I don't know how any of that works. And I don't want to be the first one, like, because I don't, like, it's my first rodeo. So yeah, I'm just walking around in circles feeling like insane basically. Luckily, where it's like old London, it's more of a block system, so I'm literally just pacing around the block. Oh no, those people just saw me before. We're gonna walk around this block so I don't look like I'm fucking insane. But yeah, as you can tell, it's like I'm in hills as well, so half an hour of walking. It's great. Guys, this building is insane. So this is the outfit of the day. I didn't get to show you earlier. I've got a dress on, jumper over the top. Oh my god, this building is so, it's insane.
It's got a killer hook. You might have kind of guessed what that hook is from the title, but Kristen, I would love it if you could tell us a little bit about what the book's about.
Well, thanks, Bobby. The book is about a woman who, when she's a teenager, goes to a country fair in 1965 and is told by a fortune teller that one day she's going to be murdered. And she gets so fixated on this that she spends the rest of her life trying to prevent it. And the way that she does this is she digs up secrets on her entire town and kind of creates this massive filing system of just people who could potentially one day murder her. And you know, if you're worried about being murdered, you try to figure out what kind of dirt people have in their lives. So when she is eventually murdered, her niece, her great niece Annie, has to come from London to compete for this inheritance, to inherit her estate, because she was so tired of not being believed by the town when she would go around talking about how she'd one day be murdered, that she decided to make her relatives compete to solve her murder in order to get this inheritance. So that's the gist.
Eyes bloodshot and I'm faded now. I try calling to persuade you how I'm a changed man with a new plan, making rules, making big moves like I rule the whole damn galaxy. So tell me, are you starry-eyed? If you are, would you be by my side? I'm a changed man with a new plan, making moves, making big moves. It's my destiny. I could tell you that I love you. We could act like this is new. All day with no clue.
Thank you so much for watching this video. Again, thank you to Quarkus for inviting me to the book launch. It was an incredible event. I'm so grateful that I was there. And I will be doing a Prime reading week in December, hopefully. And I will be reading How to Solve Your Own Murder in that. So if you are interested to see my reactions, see what I think, my honest thoughts and opinions, stay tuned for that because it will be coming in the next few weeks. But thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Comment down below on your thoughts on any of the books that I read this month, and I will speak to you soon.